Welcome to GRAZE, Growing Resiliency for Aquarium and Zoo Employees. This month, the month of May, is all about mental health awareness. And we want to highlight one of the tools and services that GRAZE offers that we think literally everyone needs and should have. Much like first aid is a certification training that most organizations offer to at least some of their staff, if not all of their staff, mental health first aid certification should also be a requirement. This is an amazing tool, and I am joined today by Hannah, who is not only our Director of Supportive Services, and you've probably seen on some of our other videos, but she is also a mental health first aid instructor. And so she's joined with us today to kind of talk about what mental health first aid certification is, what it isn't, and some of the finite details around that topic and that course. So thank you, Hannah. Let's jump in with what is mental health first aid certification?
Like you said, it's something that literally everyone could benefit from. We like to promote it very much as a starting point. So a lot of people will reach out to us with interest in expanding their skill set around mental health awareness and how to talk to one another around potential mental health challenges, and just what that means, right? It is an area that has previously held a lot of stigma, not just in the zoo and aquarium industry, but in the United States. And while COVID brought a lot of not great things, it did bring the good thing of we're talking about mental health more often. This is something that is coming up in more realms and just kind of general conversation. So what mental health first aid does is really just introduce those beginner concepts of awareness, destigmatizing, and it also provides some education tools around how to handle those potentially uncomfortable situations.
Now, when we're comparing it to, say, first aid, right? There are certain things in first aid that we don't do and aren't trained to do because that is beyond our experience and knowledge and for the medical professionals. Is it fair to say there are similar stipulations in regards to mental health first aid as well?
Absolutely. Very similar, like you said, with first aid, we are not trained to be doctors. We are trained to triage as best as we can. And that is the parallel for mental health first aid. We are not there to diagnose. We are not there to tell people what is wrong with them. We are there to again, bring in maybe a de-escalated nature. We're normalizing the conversation around seeking potential professional assistance, understanding what kind of professional assistance there is out there, right? The same as if you provide first aid to someone, you know if they need to go to this type of or not, you don't know. You may suggest or normalize the conversation around, hey, I really think we need to call for some more help right now. And that's just a part of it being okay that we need help. And help is not scary. It's not bad. It's not, take any of those words that we kind of hook to that stigma around mental health, and we're working to dissipate that.
Now, I know we said everyone should have this certification. However, we also recognize that this course can be a time requirement. It's a full day course.
Mhm.
And we recognize that maybe not every institution can get everyone through. If we were to recommend a good starting place, if an organization is interested in bringing the service to their facility, what could that look like? Who should they start with? How should they start? Kind of walk us through those steps.
Sure. So not only is it a time commitment, but we do touch on some pretty sensitive material in this course. Sometimes we have had individuals reach out to us who themselves are very interested in the course, or they know people that they would want to put through the course. And we do have a little bit of challenging questions, right? Just to make sure that we hit that very first rule, which is the same in first aid, which is do no harm. So do no harm to self and do no harm to others. So if we are actually not in a stable state, if we're still dealing with a trauma, if we still are maybe in a stuck point, need some support, this is probably not the best place to start. The best place to start is to unpackage some things for yourself. And then when you're ready to move forward, we will be there waiting. But as far as what teams we would suggest, a lot of times people would think it's all managerial, all upper level staff. However, we actually think if you kind of picked and choose one person from each tier, each department, recognizing that people have relationships all over the institution, really bringing a good kind of hodgepodge mix of people who are present at your facility make the best mental health support team. Because this is not only dealing with mental health support from within the team, within the facility, we also go over crisis response or crisis situations, which could pertain to guests as well. So if a guest is going through a particularly challenging moment, we do cover some topics that would help, again, de-escalate the situation, bring in the appropriate support services needed. And then if you have people trained on different tiers, different levels, maybe that guest is encountering someone who is a frontline keeper, and they can radio to a manager or to someone in HR that can then reach out, right? Like having the correct chain of communication is really valuable, but ensuring it's not all, we don't want to bottleneck our information anywhere. So by spreading it out, having those different perspectives really helps to kind of add to that diversity and equitability of accessibility once we're providing this type of training.
I love that. Thank you. And when we look at some more information, because we're just given an overview, a highlight, right? Where would you recommend individuals go to find a deeper dive? Say, who sponsors this training, or who you received your instructor certification through, kind of those details. That was a very terrible question, but hopefully you got it.
Answer is us, right? No, I'm kidding. So I received my certification through the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, and it's an international course, right? So this is a course that started off in Australia. It was brought into the United States back in 2000, and we use data and observations and evaluations to constantly change that information. So if you're looking for more information specifically about this course, mhfa.org talks all about it. You can look for courses that are around you. Some big cities and big areas do offer this certification for free. And we're not in competition. We just, like I said, we want everybody who is able to receive this training. Again, this is a great starting point. This is where we just start having those conversations, that destigmatizing, that getting the message out there. The curriculum is very strict. Where we can, we do shift the language and conversation to be specific to our industry. And because of our background and training, when we are in those conversations, we will highlight the answer to your question. We're going to provide our opinion, which is off curriculum, or this next step that we're going to talk about, we're going to go off curriculum again, because we want to specify as best as we can to our space. We know the uniqueness of the zoo and aquarium industry. Again, not only dealing with our peers, dealing with leaders, dealing with the frontline, dealing with the public, and our relationship with the animals. And there's just a lot of factors that we have to juggle. So you can look into the National Council for Mental Wellbeing specifically, or that mhfa.org about it. You can also look to your local city. Just Google free mental health first aid certification. You may be able to find something near you. But if you're really looking for that added uniqueness to what we would be bringing, that perspective, then we do offer our courses quarterly, and we do offer courses to specific groups. Our course minimum is 10, our maximum is 14. So we do keep it pretty small in an effort to make sure that conversation stays very safe.
And with it being May, and recognizing that if someone is watching this later on, go ahead and go to our website, look for our certification courses, and you can see when the next upcoming date is. But for the purpose of this month, we are holding a class here in May, and we'll probably do that on a regular basis, as it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so that upcoming class for 2023 is going to be May 18th. And you can register. So if you go online, you can go ahead and register for the class and get your seat. As Hannah said, those seats are limited because we need to keep psychological safety and make sure that we're getting the content and keeping everyone safe. So I know I highlighted safety there a few times, but check it out. And if you need any assistance and kind of how do I bring this, say, to my organization, maybe you have one or two go through our quarterly courses, and then you want to know, how do I bring this to my institution? Go ahead and you can contact us and we can help set you up with that. Hannah, before we go, is there any other information I forgot to ask about, or anything we think is really important people should know about this amazing and should be ultimately required for everybody certification course?
No, I think we hit the nail on the head as far as this certification course. I just want to drive home, because it is Mental Health Awareness Month, that if you have the motivation for this but don't necessarily think you are quite ready for it, then let's work on focusing on your mental health in a different direction, whether that's reaching out for a peer support session, coaching support session, or your own mental health resources around you. If you need help navigating your insurance programs or want to know what free services are around you, our goal throughout the month of May is just really driving home the normalization of looking for what is beyond us, getting a little creative with our tools and strategies, and we really just want to be here for you and for your mental health. And we look forward to each and every one of those conversations and helping everyone identify what will work best for them.
I love that. Thank you. Yes, it's a great reminder that our mental health, our emotional health are pivotal and equally as important as our physical health. And taking time to invest in all of those should be number one on our list. So thank you, Hannah. Thank you, everyone, for watching this. Hope that you reach out, and hope that during this month of mental health awareness, you take some time, as Hannah said, for yourself, investing in your overall mental health and well-being. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.